Hello, my lovelies. So, my best friend and I have been doing a role play for, about a week or so now. And I don't know why, but I suddenly decided to come up with the idea of taking her character and my character and putting them into a story, just a little story for us to enjoy. And I don't know why, but I started reading it again, and it's just like, you know what? I'm going to read this to all of my YouTube viewers so they know what's going on. You guys are probably going to be bored out of your mind here in a few minutes because I sound a little monotone when I read. And trust me, the voices when the people talk do not, like, the way I say it, are not actually how I imagine them to sound. So when they talk, like he said something and I'll say it. The way I say it is not how the person is actually supposed to sound. So just bear with me on this one. I know it's gonna be a bit strange, but just bear with me on here. Okay. So I wrote it all down in this little book here. So let's start with the prologue. So what happens before the story? And the person who keeps saying, oh, never mind, I'll just go with it. No, okay. Little backstory here. Caden and Ray are the two characters in the story, and they are both men. They're both male. Right now they're in high school, or at least in the story so far. And Ray is my character. He is like the male version of me. I made him up, so he's mine. Caden is Kendall's person, and so the way he's acting and the way he's sounding is how I would imagine her to act and sound, and what I would imagine she would say. So yeah, the person who keeps saying "I" is Ray, my person, and it's told from his perspective. So yeah. And I have not described my character, like looks and stuff yet, because I haven't gotten to that part, but I'm getting into that part in the second chapter. Caden is the first person I actually described. So, anyway, let's begin, shall we? And please don't laugh at me. I know I'm probably going to sound really weird, but please don't laugh at me. Anyway, here we go. I'm going crazy. I know I am. Everyone has been telling me that what I'm feeling is normal, but I don't think it is. I'll be completely silent for days, and then all of a sudden I'll just start laughing or crying. My therapist says that is my way of dealing with the loss of a close friend. If only she knew how much more this friend meant to me than just a friend. But I'm getting ahead of myself now, aren't I? How about I go back to the beginning, 5 years ago? I will do like little gestures and make noises and stuff to embody the character. But anyway, chapter 1. Chapter 1, the first one. It was just over halfway through the school year. We had just come back from Christmas break when my Spanish 2 teacher, Mr. Wood, introduced the class to a new student. Class, he said, his voice sounding deep and scratchy like it did most days. This is Caden McKnight. He is a new student, and I hope you will make him feel welcome. Mr. Wood's dark eyes were roaming over the class, but I didn't notice. I was busy doodling in my sketchbook and didn't even notice when he said that Caden could have the empty seat next to me. Hey. The voice was light, soft, and smooth, like the voice of someone who had seen many horrors in their days and had learned how to handle it. I looked up from my book and saw that it was the new kid. He was tall and well-built. I could see the muscles in his arms straining against the white t-shirt he wore. He had pitch-black hair and the darkest brown eyes of anyone I had ever met. He wore dark jeans and combat boots. Hey, I mumbled back. I was very shy and didn't normally talk to anyone, which made me the least popular person among my classmates. Caden smiled and sat down beside me, placing his backpack on the floor. My heart did a little tap dance when he smiled. My name's Caden, by the way, he said, once he caught me staring at him. My name's Ray, I stuttered. I could feel my face getting red from embarrassment, and I quickly went back to drawing. I heard Caden laugh beside me, and my face got even warmer. We sat in silence for a few minutes before I felt him looking me over. He leaned over the table and placed his arms on the top of it. He must have been wearing a bracelet because I heard the soft click of metal or plastic hitting the tabletop. I turned away from my sketchbook and looked over at him. He had a look of deep concentration on his face, and a few pieces of his hair was in his face. "You like to draw a lot," he stated, sitting up and pointing in the direction of my book and pencil. I was silent for a second, surprised that he was even really talking to me. "How do you know that?" I asked, sitting up and looking at him. He shrugged and gave me that smile that seemed to say he knew even more about me than he was letting on. "I just do," he said, plainly, like it was just a simple math question. I moved my left arm and wrapped it around my stomach. He watched my arm like a cat might watch a mouse and then pointed at it. "And you do that as a way to make yourself feel safer and more secure." I just stared at him, too stunned to say anything. "What are you, some kind of mind reader?" I whispered, once I had regained my composure. Caden tilted his head back and laughed a loud, deep-throated, chest-rumbling laugh. I was surprised by the sudden outburst, but I soon forgot about it and started smiling. It had been a long time since I had heard someone laugh. I was still smiling when he stopped laughing and looked at me again. "What's so funny back here?" My smile vanished when I looked up and saw Mr. Wood glaring down at us. I shrank away from him and pulled my oversized hoodie closer around me. Caden was still smiling at me. "Sorry, Mr. Wood," I mumbled. Wood snorted and glared for a second longer before walking off. "You are such a pushover," Caden smirked. "No, I'm not," I snapped at him. His smile grew wider and I glared at him. "You go along with whatever people say, no matter how wrong you believe it to be." "So, what's wrong with that?" "It's called being a people pleaser, not a pushover, okay?" Caden just shook his head and raised his arms in surrender. "Fine, whatever you say, man." Caden turned to face the front of the class, and I stared at the back wall, lost in thought. "Why are you talking to me?" I finally asked. Caden slowly turned and looked at me with a look of surprise and confusion. "What?" he asked, furrowing his brow. I felt my courage drain away, and my voice wavered the next time I spoke. Why are you talking to me?" I repeated. Caden tilted his head, and I could see a hurt flicker through his eyes, but it was gone quickly. "Is there something wrong with me talking to you?" I shook my head and stared down at the table. "No," I whispered. "There's nothing wrong with it. I'm just not used to it. Most people tend to ignore me or make fun of me, that's all." "Why would I ignore you or make fun of you?" I shrugged and sighed. "I don't know. That's what everyone seems to do around me, so I was just surprised when you started talking to me, that's all." Before Caden could say anything more, the bell rang. I grabbed my stuff and shoved it into my backpack. There was a hand on my shoulder and I spun around, panicked, but it was just Caden. I let out the breath that I hadn't even noticed I'd been holding. "Do you want to come and hang out at my place for a little while?" I looked down at the ground and shuffled my feet, shrugging. "I'm not going to kill you," he chuckled. The sound of the laugh in his voice calmed my nerves, and I decided to take a risk. "Sure," I said, looking back up at him and smiling. "Why not?" Caden smiled, and we left the classroom and headed to his house. I have not done chapter 2 yet, but I will get there, and I will read it to you guys as soon as I have it. Peace out, lovelies. Bye, ninjas. Mwah.